Okay, we're just, hello there. We're just out here testing some new gadgets. We have currently got a, hey, good looking back there. Whew. Yeah, so we've got a new microphone here. Now, I just want to give a warning. Not a warning, what do they call these things? You know, before like you start a video, there's something that's at the front. Anyway, we're going to do one of those things. The thing that's at the start of the video that tells you about the video you're about to watch. So, the idea was for this to be like a 10-minute video. Turns out I don't shut up. So this video goes for like 40 minutes, nearly 50 minutes. I'm terribly sorry, but I have a lot of things that were my favorite things of this year that I wanted to share with you, the people. So I would recommend put this on at night time, or when you're in the office and you want to look like you're working but you're not working, you know, that kind of thing. Listen to a white guy who's bald with a beard, who loves to paint little toys, tell you about his favourite things of the year. But no, in all seriousness, go get a coffee or like a cup of tea, something to munch on, sit down and listen to me talk about things that I really like. There's a worm here. Buddy, you are going to be cooking in this sun. I've got you. Alright, scrap that, we're saving this worm. There's birds, everyone out here. Where's it? We've got to find dirt. Over here in the shade. We can just put this worm in the dirt. Come here. I got you, my man. Dig a hole with my hand. There you go. There you go. Do you have to water worms? No, don't be silly. Geez, poor thing. It's so hot. He would have been frying. Okay, yeah. Anyway, crisis averted. The worm is safe for now, I think. Go get a coffee, cup of tea, sit back, relax. Let's just kind of like enjoy. Well, I hope you enjoy. God, I made this to be short so I could tell you a warning. It's rambly. It's going to be long. I'm going to talk about things like miniatures and things like lightsabers. But I love you. Thank you for spending time with me and watching this. I hope. All the best in the new year. Without further ado, here's the video. Hello there. Another year has come and gone. It's actually hard to believe that we're already in December of 2023. The year has flown and it's been an incredible, crazy ride. This video, I just want to talk about my favorite things of 2023. Objects, moments, things I've bought, stuff like that. I'm basically stealing this idea straight from Adam Savage's Tested video channel. I love these videos. I like to see what other people enjoyed throughout the year, or products or various items. So I thought it'd be good for me to make one as well, because this year there was a lot of new things I tried, a lot of things I purchased that are really helpful, and just some cool little stuff that I managed to pick up. But I also really wanted to share my favorite miniature related projects that I created this year. I think that would be a lot of fun. So without rambling too much, let's start the list off of things that are my favorite things of 2023. So the first thing that is one of my favorite things of the year is this item right here. This is a GoPro camera. So this is the GoPro Hero 9 little video camera. This has been one of my favorite things I purchased this year, purely because this year I decided to start the YouTube channel again. I've made some in the past, but they were for video gaming and stuff, and this year I really wanted to expand that, film the events I went to, just fun conventions, my hobbies, my projects, all that kind of stuff. And this camera has been incredible for that. I use this as almost like a vlogging sort of selfie camera, because it's so compact and small, and the form fits really well in any bag, but also the accessories for it, like these clips, the head clips you can get, the full chest clips. I don't have either of those. All I really use at the moment is this sort of GoPro clip and then a selfie stick stand thing essentially for it. That also doubles as a tripod. But yeah, the GoPro Hero 9 has been a must-have for me in my toolkit for going on to the Sydney trip for the Guilds In painting competition. This was critical in filming a lot of that event and the journey to it, and it will be the same again for Crimson. So it's something that's really empowered me and helped me able to film a lot more stuff in a better way for my videos and my channel. So yeah, the GoPro Hero 9, couldn't recommend it enough. The next item in my favorite things of 2023 is this lightsaber hilt here. So this is the Invictus V2 from Oz Sabers that I have heavily weathered and added material to and customized. I made a video about this whole process, but this was the first sort of custom saber, I guess you could say, I have purchased that wasn't from like a Hasbro sort or general retailer. This was like a proper one made by the community, and it's an incredible. This has got a RGB Xenopixel system in it, so not the NeoPixel one where it's the lights go up the full blade. It's more of like a torch essentially, so you can see a bit of the torch head in there, and then it shines up through the hollow blade. But this has been a joy not only for the project it allowed me to create and craft my own sort of unique look on the hilt, but just to swing a really well made lightsaber around in the backyard at night has been so much fun. I do it pretty regularly now, and this was just a joy to have. It's made really well. I can't recommend Oz Sabers enough, especially since in Australia it's harder to get a lot of the custom lightsaber stuff, as the majority of it is in America and the UK, but he's doing wonders over here in Australia, and I think it's just a really great beginner saber. This one here in Australian dollars can cost you $155 for the base model, which is what I have here. So it's very affordable for a custom lightsaber, I think, to begin with, and something you can duel with straight away if you have friends. So like, for example, a bunch of my mates got this exact one, and we all sort of were having battles in the backyard, which was a lot of fun. So I would recommend Oz Sabers definitely, and checking out their range if you're Australian especially, because it's incredible. I've had so much fun with this little lightsaber hilt, and also too, when I'm not using it, it's a great little display to have your own custom sort of Jedi piece on the shelf or something. So yeah, these are in no particular order, just going through my favorite things. But the next one is a two-piece one, and it is my journal and my pen. Now, I've been journaling since 2018 and try to do it every day. I miss days here and there, obviously. It's not a real strict rule, but it is something that I genuinely enjoy a lot. I've been very consistent since 2018, all through 2020, 2021, 2022. I pretty much nailed every day with journaling, and my favorite journal is this one here. It's a leather-bound one from the Traveler's Notebook Company. It's a Japan company, or Japanese company, and this notebook, basically what you're paying for is this sort of leather cover here, which you can then fill constantly with inserts. So it's really nice to have. One of my biggest pet peeves, I should say, with journals is you get a really nice book, but then you fill it up, and I feel a bit bad. I want to use the book more and more and more, but it's ran out of pages. This solved that issue for me personally because of the way that it is made with the inserts. So I've filled maybe 10 or 12 of these inserts already, and I can keep this beautiful leather cover going and use it as regularly as I want, and it just weathers with me. I take it everywhere. So I've had this since 2018 now, so it's been around for a long time, and it has taken quite a nice beating and patinaing. So this is my favorite daily journal that I use for just getting thoughts down, basically, emptying the head, ideas, all that kind of stuff, what I want to do with projects. The second part of that is writing. So I'm a big fan of high quality tools and nice things, because one, they're really well made, and it's nice to support people who put time and effort into their craft, and two, it's just a pleasure to use. It makes the whole process enjoyable. So when it came to journaling, I wanted to have a really nice journal, and then I also wanted to have a really nice pen to encourage me to continue writing. There's nothing worse than just using a standard old pen, I find anyway. So for the pen, I have I believe the brand is called Kaweco, Liliput fountain pen. So this is a brass fountain pen here that you unscrew the lid and then screw it onto the back just like that, and then you have this small sort of full size, well, not full size, but small size fountain pen. So this I don't know what interests me. I like tools. I love EDC objects, all that stuff, and having a little pen that's a fountain pen like this that fits into your pocket but also into any carry space you have, and it's just a nice object. It's beautifully crafted, it feels incredible writing, so much better than a ballpoint pen, and it just really helps make me want to write. So I know that it's something I look forward to doing in the morning with a coffee. It's like, oh yeah, we'll sit down and journal out the day or whatever's on my mind. But I can't recommend the Liliput fountain pen enough. If you've never used a fountain pen before, I reckon they're a lot of fun. Do keep in mind, if you're beginning, you can get ink everywhere, so that's one thing to think about. But other than that, for a beautiful, well-crafted piece of gear that you can use every day, I highly recommend this. It's one of my favourite things of this year. Now this next one, speaking of sort of everyday carry and EDC stuff, I like to have knickknacks, knackage I guess you could say, fidget toys. I'm really into all of that stuff. So I try to look for one every year that's something I want to carry on me in my little bag or in my pocket or whatever. I like to have stuff. I work an office job, so it's always nice to have a little something with me. And my favourite purchase this year is being this. Oh, I just dropped it. Is this? Oh my goodness. So it is a kyber crystal from a company called Crafted Cores, and they make kyber crystals for the Disney theme park, the Galaxy's Edge theme park lightsabers. I know, I've never been, but I know that they have like a little chip inside the crystals there. When you put them in the ones you make at Disneyland, it makes like a bunch of sounds and all that stuff. And anyway, they make custom ones with, you know, an array of characters and sounds that you can't get at the park. And this one here in particular, I'm a huge Obi-Wan Kenobi fan. He's one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, and they made this little hologram Obi-Wan crystal. So it's got Ewan McGregor's sort of Obi-Wan episode 3 face carved into the kyber crystal, and then it's hollow and it glows in the dark, which is really cool. And I'm assuming when you put it in the lightsaber it makes a bunch of noise, but I don't know because I don't actually have one of the Galaxy's Edge lightsabers. But as a nice little knick-knack, like a Jedi kyber crystal to carry around and just have, I love it. It's one of my favorite little objects of the year. So you can definitely check them out and see what other characters that they make. Maybe they've got one of your favorite character, and it's just a cool little item to have. I like to have it sitting on my desk. I bring it in my bag. I take it every day to work with me, or almost like a lucky charm, I guess you could say. But it's just a nice little Star Wars knick-knack that I really appreciate, and they've done an incredible job on it, to be honest. I've considered buying another one and painting up Ewan McGregor's face and making it like some sort of cool, interesting thing, but I don't want to ruin it. It's too nice. So that is another one of my favourite things. Now, another one of my favourite things and an instrumental piece of my gear this year has been this. This is my iPad Pro. It is a 2021, I think, edition. This has replaced a laptop for me. It has been one of the most useful tools I've had in a long time, not just for my everyday work in my full-time job, but also my personal projects, hobbies, and especially miniature painting. So I have a Logitech case on this here, which comes with a keyboard and a mouse. So it essentially replaces my laptop completely, along with the Apple Pro Pencil, which has been beneficial for drawing and taking notes and even for projects. But one of the other things about the iPad that makes it so perfect for miniature painting stuff is an app here that we've got called VizRef. So if you see, this is essentially a mood board app. It allows you to save images and GIFs even as well, and put them all into a huge, massive mood board for projects. So for example, I can show you here. Here was a Cal Kestis inspired mood board I did on an Alice Cross model back in Natalia's workshop when she came to Australia, and I wanted to do like a femme version of Cal Kestis. So I've just got a bunch of images offline of him and managed to store them all in here, and it's great because you can zoom in and out, and it's, you know, you can go incredibly small and you have so much space to add these massive mood boards. So I use this program not just for miniature painting, but also another one that I like to use it for, especially when I do, is dungeon mastering. I like to get, you know, my little monster stat blocks out here, then even notes for the stories, photos of the NPCs. It's so much easier to have everything in one space that you can just zoom in and out of, rather than spend your time sifting through folders or looking through things on your iPad, or even having printouts. It's all there in front of me and I can section it off and just zoom in and out to use it. But for projects, it's been probably the biggest help. Like with my Dwarf Dragon Bust project, I managed to get David Aroba's version that he painted here and some other ones that I saw online and liked, along with Justin Jared's artwork. And you know, I can zoom in quite far just to be able to showcase how good this app is. This app was like $5. So for me, as someone who has an iPad and uses it for my day job but also for my hobby, this tool along with that app has been an incredible item that I've used a lot in the last 12 months. Couldn't recommend it enough. So the iPad has made it to one of my favorite things of the year, along with the app VizRef. Okay, next one is an interesting one, and it's going to blow out the lighting on this, but that's okay. It is this, my painter's lamp. This is a daylight lamp, I believe is what it's called. Let me just double check. It is, it's called Daylight, right there. So this is a daylight painter's lamp. Now, well, it's a task lamp, I believe is what it's called. But this thing here has been such a lifesaver. I can't recommend it enough. Before this year, I was just using standard, generic, like Bunnings lamps. I have one here, actually. This is what I was using before that lamp. So this was my lamp. I had a piece of paper blue tacked to the middle of this to kind of diffuse the LED light, but that was my painter's lamp for all of 2020 until this year. So from let's say 2018 all the way through until 2023 of this year did I pick up that lamp, and it was such a game changer. It's just the surface area of this is tiny and shit, but that one has such a nice big, it's massive, like you can see here. The arm on it is incredible. I can just, you know, move it around, swivel it for every project I need, turn it inside and out. It's just been such a good purchase for miniature paint, as well as it has a dim function. So it has two settings, bright, then a little less bright, I guess you could call it. But just having that alone has been incredible for my painting, and really I think helped up my game, not as in techniques but just visibility. Allowed me to see, I was like, whoa shit, this model is really dark, oh this model is really bright. And even then it's helped a huge amount with taking photos of my models. Being able to have a dedicated space now and move the light around to set it up has been incredible for that. So yeah, the Daylight lamp is what this one's called. I don't know if it's like an Australian only product, but you can get them in Australia and it's incredible. I love it. It's my favorite painter's lamp of all time. I probably won't get another brand. If anything, I'll just get more of these lamps if I want one. So me and Bunny both have them, and we sit opposite each other on our painting setup and both use them. And when two are on the table, it's such an incredible space to have lit up and works wonderful. So yeah, I would highly recommend the Daylight lamp. That's one of my other favorite things of this year. Okay, now we're on to the miniatures section of stuff. So, I wanted to talk about my favourite miniature related bust or item I picked up for the year. So I have two, and one of them is a very special one, but also very hard to get one. Now, I'm a bit of a collector. Before I was into miniature paint, I collected action figures and stamps, rocks, fuck you name it. If I had an interest in it, I went pretty hard and collected trading cards, Magic the Gathering, blah 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 blah. And one of my favorite things that I was very lucky enough to get to, shout out to Casey for this if she ever watches this, is this model from Lucas Pina. So there's people who have watched this channel or follow me on my painting journey or socials know I'm a massive Lucas Pina fan of his sculpts, and in particular this one was my holy grail, the one I wanted the most, which is Mama Buho. It's this beautiful sculpt of this sort of elderly woman with a bunch of owls on her back, very druid-esque. So I was lucky enough to pick one up from a good friend here in the Aussie painting scene who was selling theirs. Now this is really hard to get these days, and especially with the popularity of Lucas and his sculpts skyrocketing, people are just asking for insane amounts of money for especially these older sculpts of his nowadays. And because of the way he works, everything's limited to sort of a 48-hour run for his model. So if I was anyone else, I recommend buying everything he makes just to have for your collection, because you never know when the mood will strike to paint one day. But Mama Boo has been essentially the what do you call it? The Grail. She was the Holy Grail model for me to be able to have, and I own her, and I'm very pleased that I do. I don't know when I will paint her yet. I feel like I'm saving it for when the moment feels right and correct. But this model in particular has been something I had wanted for a very long time. As soon as I found out about his sculpts, actually, there's one, before I understood how his website even worked, I tried to buy it instantly and then saw it was sold out, and then I thought I'll email him to see when it's back in stock, and that's when I learned that it was never to be back in stock. So yeah, this Mama Buho model means a lot to me, and I'm very pleased to own it. So thank you very much to Casey too for selling this to me. I appreciate you for doing that. So yeah, one of my favorite models, Mama Buho bust by Lucas Pina of Spira Mirabilis. I'm gonna butcher that name. I'm sorry, I'm an uncultured swine. Okay, so the next favorite purchase or purchases is a collection and of miniatures, I should say. And my favorite product, or I guess you could say purchase of this stuff, is Skullforge Studios. Now, for those who don't know who Skullforge is, he is it's a team I believe now, but we're just going to talk about the main guy. Jordan is a sculptor, and he makes Star Wars Legion scale and Shatterpoint proxy sculpts, custom sculpts of characters, heroes, aliens, you name it. As Star Wars is a huge love of mine, as you all probably already know, but also it was one of the things when I first got into miniature painting, there wasn't anything really out at the time. Legion hadn't came out yet, and there was only Imperial Assault, but I was like, I'm not into the board game. I don't have to spend X amount of dollars to buy a board game with just very limited models that I don't even really want to paint. But then along came 3D printing, custom sculpting, custom figures, and then Legion as a board game came out, and I bought the starter set for Legion. And then through looking at people's paint jobs for that, I found out about this guy who makes these beautiful custom minis. So right here I've got one from his latest Patreon, his November month, and it is a sort of scavenger Obi-Wan with his Clone Wars armor on his back. I love Jordan's sculpts. He always, does he only do the ones that are more action poses for people who want to, play the game and have their characters in action pose, but he also does like stuff that I like, which is sort of still life, I guess you could say, or you're capturing a moment. One of the most recent projects I did was a Luke Skywalker, the binary sunset on the backdrop, because he made the perfect sculpt for that, as well as, Obi-Wan right here walking off into the desert with his. So this is a project I plan to do in 2024. You'll be able to see that, but he has such an array of characters, and that's why I think he's one of my favorite sculptors, especially for miniatures. I have another Obi-Wan here with a little Princess Leia from the Kenobi series. This is going to be a big project using, I think, probably 16 to 20 models of his almost. And then again, I have some of his Night Troopers here from the latest Ahsoka TV series. He just is a phenomenal sculptor. He does so many characters, which is what appeals to me as a collector. Not only that, he's got a few ships as well, so it's an incredible resource. If you're a Star Wars fan, you love custom sculpts, I can't recommend Jordan's stuff enough. So Skullforge Studios, he just makes the best 3D printed Star Wars. Okay, the next item on my list, and one that's a bit different, is my inline skates, my rollerblades, if you want to call them. So these are the USD Sway skates. I picked back up into rollerblading, or aggressive inline skating, if you want to call it that, probably about a month ago now, and just only been a month in, it's probably one of the best things I've done. It's hard to describe, but a bit of history. I used to rollerblade back when I was probably 13 onwards till about 16, but it wasn't like anything, you know, really at a skate park. I could go down a bunch of ramps and stuff like that, but at the time I didn't know the difference between rollerblades and inline skates that were designed specifically to have this sort of cutout bar here to grind. It's called a H block. So now that I am aware of that and I am invested in this sort of sport, God, it's fun. I'm currently learning how to grind on my new favorite pastime, rollerblading. It is, I am exhausted. It is an absolute blast. I've been having so much fun, but man, does it take it out of you. I can't get enough of it. I just want to do it every night, all the time, after work, on weekends. It's unfortunately raining right now, so I can't go today, but the freedom that it's made me feel while skating again, bring back some sort of excitement and energy, but also, it's hard to describe. It's just such a good feeling. I really thoroughly enjoy it, and it's skyrocketed actually to one of my favorite interests of the year, and a hobby that I'm very dedicated to now at the moment. I'm just researching constantly, trying to learn new tricks to get better and better. My goal is to grind by New Year's Eve, and I've so far managed to nearly hit that, like a full rail, which is incredible. It's a great workout too, someone who sits down a lot, so I couldn't recommend getting into some inline skating or rollerblading. It's such a fun hobby, and it's a great way to exercise and it not feel like exercise because it's so much fun. So yeah, skating has been a saviour for me this year. Okay, so on to favourite projects that I've painted or made this year, miniature related. So this year has been an interesting year where I normally, or put it this way, in 2020, 2021 and 2022 I did about 30 to 50 projects a year, so my output was incredibly high as far as speed goes. But after hitting a few competitions in the last 12 months, being Crimson Brush, my first one in 2023, then we had Arc in March of 2023, and then we had the Guilds in July of 2023. I got bronzes in all those events, especially the first two, Crimson and Arc, and then when it came to the Guilds I managed, at that point I'd had a couple of months break, and I realised that speed is not a factor I want to pursue. I want to pursue good quality and high quality works, and I want to try to get a gold. That's my goal, is to get a gold medal for something somewhere in a sort of masters category, let's say. And at that moment I hadn't put in that effort, and that was the biggest feedback I was getting from these judges and friends from these competitions, is I needed to sort of change it up and spend more time on my paint jobs and my miniatures. So I took that into consideration, and this year, as a sort of product of that, has been my output has slowed dramatically. I'm not sure how many pieces I've done this year, but it's probably around maybe 15 to 20. That's including individual single miniatures like this little Stormtrooper here. Most of my stuff this year has been solidly display based, except for probably 3 or 4 Shatterpoint figures that I've done, but I just don't enjoy painting at a tabletop quality standard. If anything, it pisses me off. It doesn't fulfill anything in me because I don't play these games. I do miniature painting for an artistic sort of expression and release. So when I have a model, I don't want to paint it quick. I don't want to paint it fast. I don't want to get it done. I I want to enjoy the time with the project, the ups and the downs that come with that. All the pain, all the redoing, I don't know, that's a process that's very enjoyable for me as a creative outlet nowadays. And that bird. But yeah, so this year I changed things up. I moved from just trying to get things done and move on to the next model as fast as I could, because inevitably what would happen to me is I would start a project that I'm really excited about, and then I would hit the sort of sluggish hard period where you're still excited but it's just not as intense. But then what happens is, you know, as miniature painters, we have a bunch of projects and models that we want to do, and one of those ideas starts to just whisper in the back of your mind, and it becomes very attractive, and you kind of want to leave that project and just start on that one, or you just want to wrap this project up to start on that one. So this year I've tried to be very aware of when that happens, and instead of doing that, just slow down and continue on with this project and use it more as a reward that once I finish this project, that idea can come next, and wait. And as a product of that, I've had my best painted stuff, I think, especially in this last year, 12 months to 6 months. So I wanted to share some of my favorite pieces that I have personally finished and worked on for this last 12 months. And first off, I've just got to take this plastic bag off of it to protect it from dust. First off is my Last of Us diorama. So I only played the first video game and I didn't even finish it, to be honest. Just wasn't really my thing, but the TV show, when that came out, I watched it all and I loved it. I thought it was incredible, and it just inspired me to want to make a piece for it. Now, fun fact, Skullforge Studios, shout out again, he sculpted all of these miniatures, and his ability to just do that, especially with things that are current and popular, especially when you're watching them and you're engaging with them, I'm like, I want to engage with this more, but how do I do that? He provides a perfect platform for that with his minis, and enabled me to be able to create this idea. So the idea was to build a full scene, a diorama, something that I haven't really done before, and I wanted it to be a dual-siding diorama. But I also wanted the base to be circular. I wanted people to pick it up and turn it around. I didn't want it to be, you know, sort of angled off like a square. And the initial idea I had was, okay, the outside can be the city street, where we can have Joel and Ellie, you know, going outside or about to go into a building, and then on the inside I wanted to have a clicker, and then custom sculpt the cordyceps sort of fungus spreading and everything like that. But one of my other favorite things is I like to add Easter eggs to my displays and things like that. As a Star Wars fan, I try to add it into a little bit of all of my projects, and this one was very good because Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, also plays Joel in the show. So I thought, this guy likes to play roles where he's a father type figure looking after magical children. So in this one, not only do we have Ellie here in the front with Joel, but up the back in the roof of the diorama, I put Grogu in a little bucket to make it look like his sort of pram. So there's a tiny little Grogu hidden up there. And then down here on the cordyceps, there is I had a failed 3D print that I then just cut up and made it look like it was exploded on the side of the wall here as part of the virus. And then I also put a little Mandalorian helmet cut off there as well, to be like on the ground as part of the sort of little hidden Easter eggs for this sort of story. But this is one of my favorite projects. It changed the way I think about miniatures, honestly, getting to create this, just because of the nature of building a scene like that from start to finish. I'd done little dioramas here and there, but nothing with a plan this big or this sort of vast, and it changed something in me and has inspired. I've thought about it every week since I made it, I reckon, related to miniature stuff. A special one again as well. So this is my Thranduil bust. This is a custom sculpt by Torbjorn Barone. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, Torb. But so this is a sort of one-off sculpt. He sculpted this beautiful bust, and I noticed it was up for sale on his Instagram. So I reached out to him to purchase sort of the rights, I guess, or the sculpt itself. And so he sent me I bought the sculpt, he sent it to me, There's only one of them in existence, and I own that and got to paint that. So not only did that instill a shitload of fear in me, but also as a collector, one-off of things is just, you know, incredible. It feels good, it's nice to have, and this one was no question about it. It was just such a nice sculpt. He nailed the actor. I can't remember the actor's name who plays Thranduil because I'm not really into celebrities or actors like that, but getting all of his face right. And this project here was something that at the time I was like, I have to do my absolute best on ever. And I spent a long time trying to just get the face correct, get his features right, make it look like the actor. And it's one of those things too that's interesting when you have a sculpt that no one's painted before. There isn't really any reference to kind of see how someone may have done something. So you have to just think of stuff and go off your own intuition and look at like photos. And because this is all from like the Hobbit film era, so it's like 2012, even the photography of the character and the sculpt is all pretty shit. So it was just such a challenge, but also a rewarding experience. One of my favourite things too was this was one of my first projects to ever break out of the bronzes, and he managed to claim a silver medal at the Guilds in Sydney, which I'm incredibly proud of. And I'm in love with this piece. I spent a long time working on it, and I think it's one of the best things I've painted to date. And it just has a special place in my heart as a painter. It also kickstarted my journey and interest into portrait-like bust characters. Because of this guy, I then painted a Mandalorian portrait of Pedro Pascal and Grogu, and then another one of Ray Stevenson as Baylan Skoll from the Ahsoka series. And there's just something about those kinds of paint jobs and characters that I don't know, I really enjoy. And yeah, he nailed it. So go check out Torb's Instagram. I'll put a link below, but his sculpts are incredible, and if you are ever lucky enough to purchase one of his pieces of work for yourself and to own it and to paint it for competitions, highly recommend. Okay, and last project that is my favorite this year is I haven't bought many miniatures or busts this year, to be honest. Not a lot appealed to me. My favourite sculptor who I buy every sculpt from is Lucas Pina from Spira Miniatures, Spira Mirabilis. I butcher it every time, but I love his sculpts, so I buy all of his regardless of how they look. But as far as outside sculpts from other companies, very rarely do I actually buy any. I feel like it's been quite stale in the industry in the last 12 months or so. But this one in particular, from Hera, caught my attention, and it is the Worm Slayer, Brov. It's in collaboration with an artist. I can't remember his name though. Trov something. For people probably know, but anyway, I just liked it because it was a dwarf killing a dragon, and it was, here's the model, another one of my favourite projects for the year. I haven't painted a piece in 75mm to 55mm a long time. I actually thought I didn't like the scale, and this piece proved me incorrect on that. Just getting to play with that scale and also building the scene around it was some of the most satisfying painting I've done in the last 12 months. This project, I really kind of gave my all into it as well. The dragon was incredible to paint, very challenging though too with all the scales, and the idea I had too was one that was quite tough. I wanted a red to blue dragon fighting a dwarf who's just sort of, decapitated it. And I'm pleased to say I think I got there in the end with this one. But we'll see. It's going to be on show for the first time at Crimson Brush 2024 coming up in January. And I'm entering in Masters, so we'll see how he does there. But this piece in particular was one of my favourite pieces of the year. I painted miniature, probably my favourite that I have to date. I don't know what it was about the project, but it just sparked so much joy. I tried really hard. It was incredibly challenging too, and it was one of those ones when you finish it that you just think, without being egotistical, you think I did a good job on that. Like, fuck, that came out quite nice. So yeah, this piece in particular holds a very special place in my heart. And last things on my list, so some books. This year has been another big year of books for me. I just want to give a shout out to Audible, the service, as like another thing that I'm really happy I purchased and got into this year. I've been listening to the audiobooks this year like crazy. It's been so good when I'm painting, commuting to work, at work, and I don't want to listen to anything. In particular, no surprise, I've been listening to a lot of fantasy and science fiction, specifically the Legend of Drizzt series. I am in love with that series and I'm making my way through that, as well as currently right now the Star Wars High Republic book series. They have been some of the best books I've ever read and I'm enjoying them thoroughly. But some physical books that I have here to show today are a bit different, but stuff that has also been super important and I've loved. My first book is Jedi Mind by Amy Ratcliffe, Secrets from the Force for Balance and Peace. Now, I'm someone who has struggled with mental health issues in the past, but also a huge fan of daily meditation. And partly why I like Star Wars so much is the Jedi sort of way and how they use their meditation, but also just their being. It speaks to me on a much deeper level than just a fan, almost on a spiritual level, which might sound weird to some people, but it's very important to me and something that, I don't know, it speaks to me. And this book that Amy Ratcliffe done is incredible. It hits sort of exactly what I was after with quotes from, you know, the film and then going over deeper on them in a more mindfulness sort of mind frame. And it just makes I'm a big quote person as well, especially when it comes to sort of more self-development and things like that, and just getting to sort of reflect and think about it, but putting it in a lens of being a Jedi or like Star Wars is just I don't know, it's very important to me and it's meant a lot this last 12 months with this book. So thank you, Amy, for writing this book as someone who is a fan of Star Wars, but not only that, the Jedi in particular. This really spoke to me, and especially when I was going through a difficult time and I purchased this, it was just such an incredible resource and brought me a lot of joy and happiness. So, Star Wars, The Jedi Mind, if you're interested in meditation, mindfulness, and just Jedi in general, and some really bang-on quotes and a bit deeper behind what they could mean, I can't recommend this book enough to anyone. The next book is a two-part book, which is these... I'm going to absolutely ruin the name. Taschen, I think's the company, but by Paul Duncan, the Star Wars Archives. So classic me, more Star Wars books, but these ones are just so incredible if you are a fan of the series and trilogy. They're a very in-depth look and exploration of the films. So this first one here is all about the original trilogy. Behind the scenes filming, talks with George Lucas, what was going on with it, and also as a graphic designer, it's just beautifully laid out. It's a very nice coffee table book to sort of have, but this one was the latest pickup I got for the original trilogy, and it's just been a joy to have on the table and to look at night. My favourite one, though, of the set is this one here, which is the prequel trilogy. Now, as all people will know who follow me or watch any of my stuff, I'm a die-hard prequel fan, and they are my Star Wars movies. And this book is everything I ever wanted. It covers from 1999 to 2005. It goes the behind the scenes, the miniatures, the CGI, all of the problems with making those films and how difficult it was. And it's just incredible. It's such a nice resource and just inspiring to read through and just have a flip through every night in bed. But if you're a Star Wars fan, these are must books if you're into the films and behind the scenes and how films are made and all of the hard work that goes into that. They're my favourites books by far of this year. So there we have it, friends. 2023 done. Those are my favourite things, my favourite objects, my favourite miniatures, and just some other things that have brought me joy. The two other things that have really brought me personally a lot of joy this year has been my fiancée, Storm, Bunny, who most of you know is another painter in the scene here. She's brought me an incredible amount of joy this year, and just the quality time we've got to spend together, as well as our little son Lando, my dog, our little pug puppy. He's the bestest little boy ever. But another thing that is also one of my favorite things is my core sort of friend group known as Team Stonebeard. It's just a bunch of painters I met in 2020, we'll say, maybe 2021, I can't really remember. But since then, they've become family, and we've formed a really tight, close-knit bond with them, and we spend a lot of time together. And they're all incredible, lovely people. So just a lot of connection, having some really solid friends and meeting people and stuff. I can't recommend it enough, is go out and spend some time with those that you love and care. They've made these last 3 years incredible for me personally. So those are some of my favourite things of the year. I hope you all have a very safe and happy sort of holiday Christmas period. Look after yourselves, be merry, but also reflect on the year that's just gone. Spend some time considering where you want to go for 2024. I won't be making any more videos for the rest of this year, and probably not until the end of January, as the build-up for the Crimson Brush 2024 is quite real, and I'm making a lot of stuff for that event, as well as planning to film a lot of stuff at the event. So my next video very well may be a post video of the Crimson Brush event. But anyway, I also want to thank you for this year to the Dirty Paint Water Society. It is the community of online miniature painting that Storm and I run along with our incredible mod team. Shout out to Minimancer and shout out to Topulus. You have both been legends this year, and when things have died off, kept the server alive and going, so I very much appreciate both of you. Check it out. I'll put an invite link down in the bottom of this video here to join, but it is, in my opinion, the best server online for miniature painting as far as being open and welcome and just supportive and helpful. So I'm very grateful for all the work Topulus and Minimancer have done, especially Top. He's the best boy. So thank you very much, guys. But other than that, I think 2023, personally, been a really good year. Been a really intense year and a tough year at times, but also one of the best ones. I'm 30 now. I'm starting my new decade of living. I've got the healthiest I've ever been and the fittest I've ever been, and I've painted the best models I've ever painted and spent the best times with my friends. I can't ask for any more, so I'm very, very grateful and blessed. I hope you all have a safe and happy new year, and I look forward to seeing you in the new year. Alright friends, catch you later. Have a good one. Be safe. Much love.
The night is alive, it's loud and I'm drunk.